distinguished Minister, distinguished MP, dear guests, dear press members, I would like to extend my regards to all of you. Welcome. We are trying not to keep people waiting. I'm sure people were not kept waiting. I think there was a misunderstanding at the start. There's no misunderstanding. Mr. Bülent hiç sönmez, who is in charge of Turkey, from Google, provided you with some data, and I would like to agree with them. I would like to touch upon specific issues, but I would like to divide my speech into three parts, actually. Data and internet in Turkey and its volume. What's the volume of the internet, the data? And then I will talk about internet use in Turkey and some regulations in this field. And last but not least, I would like to touch upon international organizations operating in this field, and our expectations from Google. First of all, I would like to share some data in the ICT sector in Turkey. I would like to give information on the turnover of the sector. As of 2003 in Turkey, the ICT sector has reached the following point. You see the blue curve, which is the IT curve. The red one is the communications technology curve. $44–45 billion of turnover at the end of this year is expected. The broadband internet subscribers in Turkey can be seen on the screen. 19,370,000, so 19.4 million. Penetration rates are 62%. I would like to underline 2 points. The first one is about statistics in Turkey, which are not updated. This is why the values cannot be expected as measurement data for Turkey, because the Information Communications Technology Authority has a 3-monthly review on the sector, which is expected as a reference by the sector. I would like to give an example. 1st of January 2012, 10 months ago, 14.1 was the broadband internet subscriber number in Turkey. After 10 months, it's 19.4. There has been an increase of 5.3 million, which is 40% an increase in 2 months. I'm sure it will go up to 50% by the end of this year. So keeping statistics for the sector is very difficult. They're outdated and very quickly. And so I am not accepting any international statistics on the internet, because it's not possible. We talked about Turkstat, the statistical office in Turkey, that they should give the data to international parties regularly. We are also giving data to the regulatory authority in Europe. We have 19.4 million subscribers, 62% penetration in Turkey, which is the average in Europe, approximately, and even a higher figure than in many countries. We have 55 million internet users in Turkey. I am showing you how we did the calculation on the screen, how we came up with 55 million and what's its relation with the penetration rates. I would like to underline that when we say internet users, we have to differentiate between fixed lines and mobile internet use. Mobile internet use, smartphones, they involve only one user. Connect, cut, and fixed lines, satellites including, had to be multiplied with the household figures. 1 million with the number of households. So, in average terms, this is the average internet time spent at the internet, 24 hours per month. It's 26 hours per month in EU countries. It's 27 hours in Turkey. In some EU member states, it's 28, 30 hours. But we talk about the average in the European Union is 26 hours. These are statistical international data. Increase in the data traffic is a very important subject because, be it on a fixed line or mobile networks, in a very short period of time, people have difficulties accessing sites because of the high volumes of traffic. Because in the last 2 years, according to data in Turkey, the data traffic increased by 15 times. And the mobile operators, they have all the details. The voice revenues went down from 75% to 65%. Data service revenues went up from 14 to 21%. So this involves change, communication. In terms of voice and process has increased actually, but in terms it's the value of voice in terms of revenues has gone down. 299 minutes subscribers speak per month. This is the second quarter. In the fourth quarter was not announced. In February, the fourth quarter will be announced. I think it will go up to 310 minutes per month because of the holidays, New Year's Eve, Bayram holidays, SMS and voice traffic increases during these times. So in very short period of time in terms of voice traffic, we are number one in Europe actually. Our close competitor is Latvia, Greece, Latvia with 252 minutes, and Sweden. But the divide is becoming bigger and bigger. So these are not our own statistics. The World Economic Forum, Davos, announced the statistics on the IT sector. 1 megabyte per second connection is provided to more than 1 million households in Turkey. We are one of 4 countries being able to do that. We have the most advanced mobile coverage in the world. This is not our statistics. This is the World Economic Forum statistic. So what does development of mobile coverage mean? Mobile internet is quickly developing, advancing. As a result, we have another unique feature as Turkey, as a country. We have a young population, a very young population, and they are interested a lot in technology. They're curious about technologies. And 16, 17 million phones arriving in Turkey, or 50% of all phones are smartphones which have internet connection. These are all statistics on the internet, international data. Very briefly, I would like to talk about internet use in Turkey. In the last decade, important regulations have been adopted, and I would like to share some of them with you. One of these regulations is related to the dissemination of internet use. It promotes internet use. Universal service. The ministry is effectively using universal service. The universal service, I'm talking about the universal fund. 3,000 public internet access centers were established. 21,000 schools were equipped with computer classes. 40,000 schools have broadband internet connection. 204 web-based multimedia language learning centers were established at universities in 16 metropolitan areas, shopping centers, and the airport and train stations. They have all free of charge internet access points. This is related to the Universal Fund. Some of the contributions from that fund was used. The fund was used for that purpose. Partially, another project is well known, the Fatih project. It is a world-renowned project. In 4 years, 40,000 schools were equipped with internet use, smart boards, and more than 50 million students were given tablet computers, tablet PCs. This is a short summary of Fatih project. What have we done else? What else have we done? The minister exerts great efforts in this field to lower internet taxes. In fixed lines and mobile, internet charges went down from 15% to 5%. This is important for the development of internet. It's a radical step toward this goal. Other than that, social projects have been initiated recently. The minister has been promoting these projects. Disabled, veterans, and martyrs, their families, they have reduced price internet use. They're using internet at reduced prices. This is one of the most important resolutions to develop internet, which is a regulation to install fiber, the fiber optic cables. Operations will be protected. Their investments, enterprises, their investments will be protected. Depreciation and coverage of costs has been taken into account. Everyone is discussing how to develop the internet all over the world. The most important point about it is to develop fixed line and mobile lines. Mobile coverage is the best in Turkey, as I said. This is what I say, and the report also says that. Secondly, in mobile communication, Turkey is very good, but if the data traffic goes up at this rate, in 2-3 years' time, we'll have difficulties. Will be faced with difficulties, and this is why the minister promotes the fiber issue, fiber installment. And you need to establish base stations for the mobile to be able to use mobile phones, and we have to develop the infrastructure in general terms in this field, and all the sectors have to own this process. I'm sure we'll talk about the content related to the internet, but to develop the internet, you have to develop the infrastructure, and everyone involved should support it. Another important regulation is the following: airplanes and high-speed trains. We should have uninterrupted internet service. We have made serious investments in this field. When I came back from Canada from meeting, I used it at the airplane. As regards IPv6, we are exerting great efforts. This is not only Turkey's problem. To develop internet, this IPv6 is very important. To disseminate internet to different segments, broad segments, we have a safer internet profile. International organizations, InHop, InSafe, etc. This is debated. This has not changed. This is a point of debate, and Turkey took serious steps in this regard in the safer internet as well. We have 2 profiles for children and families with children to have broad-based access to the internet, to allow people, all kind of segments of society, to access the internet. We have 15 million safe users. As regards safe internet, there is a reality we didn't expect. More than 60,000 establishments use the children profile, the children profile, the Safe Internet profile. Why? We investigated and found out that in the Safe Internet profile, phishing is more difficult. It's impossible, actually. Enterprises, they don't want phishing, of course, and because they have financial concerns, and this is why they use Safe Internet. 60,000 corporate users use Safer Internet profile for financial services, financial transactions. Law 5651 is the number of the Internet law. Internet law was passed, and it has aspects on child pornography, promotion, solicitation of suicide and drug use, etc. These are fought against in this law, and this is very important for me, be it the Safe Internet regulation or after this law. We had a look at the statistics and found out that there were new subscribers. There are those that subscribe to Safe Internet, but there and then families with concerns, parents with concerns, who have become new subscribers. Which increased the number of Internet users to 19.5 million. We have established a board which has a goal to develop further the Internet. The proposals are conveyed to the minister, and Turkey is a member of INHOP, which is very important. Cybersecurity is another issue of importance. This is there are a lot of regulations in cybersecurity. Before Bayram holidays, Minister for Transportation and Maritime Affairs established a cybersecurity board. January 2011, a national cybersecurity exercise took place, participated by public agencies. In May 2012, there are 12 ISPs in Turkey, which is more than 90, which accounts for more than 99% of the traffic. There has been an ISP-specific exercise called Cyber Shield exercise, which took place in May 2012. In last week, at the end of 2012, last week of December, there will be a second national cybersecurity exercise, which will be participated by public and private sector representatives. In the last years, we have carried out these activities and reached this point. I would like to conclude my speech by saying that there are international corporations, organizations who operate over the Internet, and we have expectations from these, from Google, for example. We expect the number of data centers to be increased in Turkey. And Internet conversion points, IXPs. There are 120 in Europe. There is none in Turkey. I would like to ask, why aren't there any? Are there any concerns? We are ready to talk about them. We would like to have IXPs in Turkey. We would like to have more data centers in Turkey. Of course, we have conducted work in this regard, and per megabyte in the past, the demanded figure was 5 euro cents. Now it's 1.4 euro cents. It went down. The average in Europe is over 1.5 euro cents. Bringing data to Europe and storing them in Europe and changing them, it doesn't have any rationale anymore. If so, we should discuss it. Not the content of the Internet, but how to develop the Internet, the infrastructure, data center, IXPs. All these should be discussed because these are all realities. we would like to provide hosting services in Turkey. Why aren't there any hosting services in Turkey? We are not a small country. We have 75 million people on this geography, and we have a strategic position. We have very young population, and we are using the internet and the social media more than Europeans. This is why hosting is something which we want to see in Turkey. And thirdly, YouTube. Turkish interface of YouTube, decentralization and Turkish interface of YouTube is something we would like to see as well. The minister is following up on these issues, and there are a series of meetings on them. Certain steps have been taken. We are satisfied. YouTube.com.tr should be realized as soon as possible. And there's a will on your side, and you're thinking about it. Would like to see it realized as soon as possible. Having a Turkish interface was very important for us, and this is why I would like to thank you in advance. Google is an important international organization, corporation, and we would like to see more of Google in Turkey. Thank you very much.